Hello, Marketing Mensch, and welcome back to part 2 of how to use AI effectively and efficiently. So where we left off was we were just getting into how we can use AI, but we need human input. So we're going to go into inputs and biases and hallucinations, and no, I'm not talking about drugs. I'm actually talking about AI, okay? You can have hallucinations with AI. All right, so before we begin though, of course, please subscribe, tell your friends, send smoke signals, do whatever you need to just to let them know that this is a free resource for them, if they're business owners, or even if they're marketing people working for a business. I mean, this stuff is valuable, and it's certainly stuff that web developers and content writers and search engine optimizers are not going to share with you guys, because, well, they want you to feel that you are reliant on them to do it for you. And I believe differently. So anyway, go ahead and please subscribe to my channel. And of course, if you have any questions about this episode or any episode, or if you have a question about your own project, I want you to feel free to contact me at darren@unetdesign.com. So Darren at the letter U, netdesign.com. All right, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know you're out there. All right, so let's pick it up. So we were just getting into the things to remember when you're implementing AI. My camera person is wrestling with something, so I hope that's not picking up on the mic. All right, so, all right. The first thing is start with a clear strategy. So before bringing in any tools, you got to think about how you want to use AI. Have specific goals for yourself and start implementing them slowly. Don't just say, AI, oh my goodness, let's go. You don't dive into it, okay? So just have clear goals. Make sure that you know what you want AI to achieve for the business, okay? The second thing is ensure high quality data. That is very, very important. So you got to prioritize cleaning and standardizing your data to ensure accuracy. That means going back, basically. It sounds pretty fancy, but it just means going back, making sure that you're keeping, accurate records, because when you do go back and you look at past performances, behaviors, successful programs, you're definitely going to want to, refer to that, and with confidence, you knew that you were maintaining that data all along, because bad data will definitely just lead to flawed insights and poor performance, and we don't want that for you. Also, adopt a phased approach. So, like I said, I like to just, kind of put my foot in there a little bit and then see what's going on. So gradually start using AI. And start using them on small projects just to test your experience with AI. And also you could just see how effective this stuff is and then scale up from there, So I think that's a great way to go. And then maintain human oversight. You can't do AI without human oversight. So, a lot of people are freaking out that they're going to be replaced by AI. You still need human oversight to operate AI. So, if you use AI as an assistant and not a replacement, then you'll have human reviewers, right? Going over your AI generated content just to ensure that the brand, your voice, everything is accurate and consistent, everything that you developed for the business, right? So we want to always look at these things, keep these things in mind, right? Brand integrity, and then prioritize your data privacy and security. So with AI relying heavily on customer data, implement robust security measures and be transparent with customers on how you're using their information. So I think it's really important, when you're using AI, you don't want to be giving away your social security number, your driver's license, things like that. Remember, AI is gathering up all this data based on inputs. So we do want to have unique inputs, and we could do that without giving out your license or whatever, sensitive information, credit card information, what have you. So just be careful what you are telling AI when you are writing that effective content. So what we want to do, it's like web development or probably in your industry, there's so many things that are just changing rapidly, right? The trends and everything just change. So with AI, this thing is just going to keep going and going and going. There's going to be a lot to learn. And right now, I encourage you just to get on the ground floor right now and start learning this stuff. Start dabbling in this stuff. Not as a shortcut. Don't use AI as a shortcut. Use it as your assistant to elevate your business, to make your life easier, right? So a lot of business owners that I've spoken with, and I've given them a reboot on how to look at AI, they were originally thinking, it'll just write itself and I'll use AI, cut every corner. And that's bad. That's really bad because your credibility, your site visibility, your ranking, all that stuff, not good. So we definitely want to keep, yourself and your staff informed with new developments and best practices. And certainly that would give you and your team a competitive edge when using AI. So also comprehensive AI courses. I'm not going to go into each line, but I am going to go slowly so you can see. We've got Google AI Essentials, Microsoft AI Skills Fest. We've got LinkedIn Learning. We've got Udemy and Coursera, IBM AI Foundations for Everyone. And there's plenty of things out there for you. So I'm sorry, I was just having a little fun with my PowerPoint remote. Okay, so what triggers penalties? That sounds terrible, doesn't it? Well, it kind of is, because penalties when using AI can really wreak havoc on your credibility of your content and basically slam you with your visibility on the internet. So let's talk a little bit about that. What would trigger a penalty when you're using AI? Well, mass-produced low-quality content, so letting AI just do its thing. You see a lot of that stuff, like with bloggers. They're looking for hits. They're not looking for quality of content. They're going to try to get you in. It's very on-the-surface generic stuff. You'll read this long article and you'll walk away going, what did I just get from that? In fact, it was plagued with punctuation and grammatical errors. It was awful, right? Well, that wasn't their job. What they wanted to do is show that they can get people to click on what their blog was introducing, whatever it was. So unfortunately, a lot of people will create large volumes of repetitive, shallow, or overly generic content. And Google's going to slam you for it because that's spam. Factual inaccuracies and hallucinations. So AI models can produce false or outdated information. We're going to talk about that. But publishing unverified AI output can totally damage your credibility and your trust. So we want to stay away from factual inaccuracies and hallucinations. But that also depends heavily on the AI platform that you're going to go with, right? So we'll get more into that and biases and unbiases. Failing the EEAT test. So I mentioned that experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. These are the things that will allow your content to really rank well with search engines because it demonstrates all that stuff. So very good, but when it lacks this kind of human-centric elements or the real-world experience and unique insights, then you lose that EEAT, right, in your content, and then you just become generic. And we don't want generic. Poorly edited and robotic text. So publishing raw or unedited edited AI outputs. That would, kind of create a repetitive experience for the user, and that would definitely require you to go back, please, and read your AI content that was generated and ask yourself, does this really pass the EEAT standard? And is this, plagued with inaccuracies or is it going to misrepresent me or my business, right? So now more about what triggers penalties. Keyword stuffing. Hey, remember we were talking about keywords and key phrases? If that doesn't sound familiar to you, guess what? I've got an episode just for you. So you can check that out. It's called Keywords versus Key Phrases. Go figure. Okay, so keyword stuffing, that is something that we definitely never, ever, 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 ever want to do, because that is definitely going to get you slammed with the browser. So it would definitely be a classic spam tactic that today really, really hurts your credibility. So we don't want to do that. What is keyword stuffing? I just want you guys to make sure, I want to make sure you know what that means. That means two things. You could have keyword stuffing where a lot of irrelevant things you're not even using in the content that you've written, you're just placing at random things that you think the bot's going to pick up and index your website as. Let's go back to the 90s for a second. We used to do this all the time. We would use white content, font on a white background, and we would have all these cities listed at the bottom of the page. And the user couldn't see it because it was blended in with a white background, but it was on the surface, so bots could pick it up, and they'd see Arleta, Sherman Oaks, Studio City, and all this other stuff. And that's when bots were young and dumb, so we could fool them. Now they're really smart, and they know when you're trying to get over on them. And keyword stuffing is not the thing that you want to be doing. Overly generic and unoriginal content, absolutely. I mean, that is what AI just on its own is certainly known for. So you definitely don't want to, create bland content that is already online. And you know what's a really cool thing to do? Is you add about 3 or 4 frequently asked questions. Let's say you have a service, right? Let's say an appraisal service, or pest control. Better yet, pest control. And you have areas in Antelope Valley, in San Fernando Valley, and maybe even in Manhattan Beach. Okay, those 3 areas would probably require different approaches with how you do your pest control. These would be great questions to put on the bottom of your service page. That would be very unique questions. What makes my area require, let's say, whatever the practices of the pest control? You could go into, in this area or this region of Southern California, there are certain bugs that are different than other areas. So you're offering information, unique information that's helpful, different than what's already out there, and bots will look at that. And then you'll be indexed. When you do a search return and you'll see like other links that says, hey, you might be interested in this search. You become one of those branches because of that unique FAQ. And they're very likely to click on that link that takes them right to that area of your website where you were talking about that particular thing. So again, it's a wonderful way to boost your credibility of your content. Add about 3, 5 FAQs, and you got to make them unique. It's not, am I open on Christmas, or do you take discovery? It's not those kind of questions. So you want to make sure that it's very specific to your product or service, but general enough to where it can be helpful to anyone who's looking for that product or service. So it's just another way where you can get another added footprint onto the internet and onto these search return pages. So also ignoring user intent. If your content, whether human or AI generated, does not satisfy the specific purpose behind a user's search query, Google will note low engagement and potentially lower its ranking. Kind of like a bounce rate, right? Kind of like what we used to have with bounce rates. It's like you go to the website, this isn't what I wanted, and then you leave, right? Well, same thing here. It's like it didn't have anything to do with their search query, so they left. And the bots are going to notice that. So when there is low engagement, that is going to hurt you. So a pro tip, Google has repeatedly stated, and I was so blown away. I was so happy when I read this. that it rewards high quality, helpful content regardless of whether it was created by human or AI. So that's wonderful for you. Why? Because you can do this AI. You can build your content, your whole website content, or your marketing, where you are you're building content for the brochure, for the postcards, for your website, for social media. You can do all of this stuff and keep it with AI making it so easy for you to do this stuff. But again, you got to have those inputs, right? All right. So we're gonna be wrapping it up here pretty soon, but I wanted to talk to you about AI hallucinations. So hallucination is basically, it's false or misleading. It could be nonsensical, but it's usually the outputs from AI models such as like a chatbot that could cite fake legal cases or have like a computer vision system that's misidentifying an object. Examples of hallucination could be historical inaccuracy, saying that the moon landing was in 68 instead of 69, or incorrectly identifying like a state or city capital. False citations, citing non-existent scientific study or research. And believe me, there's stuff out there. That's why you really have to. I do this all the time. If I want to know like something, maybe something going on in politics or something, I want to, and you could ask, cite where you got this information, and the AI return will tell you where it got this information from. So it's very important, and that's a way where you can stay away from, these kind of hallucinations. Also, legal misinformation. So saying that a verbal agreement is always legally binding, just as written contracts. No, that's not true. So again, just like the internet, you got to be aware of AI and what's being put in front of you, because it's not always true and correct. And you still have the tools using AI to test this very quickly and easily to see if this is, credible information, biased information, or is it a hallucination? Financial errors can also be another one, where you're saying, hey, stock prices are amazingly up right now, and when they're not. So it happens, but that's why, you are the business owner. You got to be aware of all these things, right? I tell you all the time, you got to be aware. You don't need to know everything that I know, or that an AI person who really understands AI. You don't need to know as much as that person does. You just need to know enough to protect yourself, right? And then, of course, please keep immersing yourself in this stuff, because it's going to be around for a long time, and there's going to be other opportunities for you to implement this into your business and make it so much easier to run your business. AI selection bias. So they tend to occur when training data is not representative of the real world population. Let me give you some examples. So like facial recognition systems, they can perform poorly because of skin tones. Maybe it wasn't considered at the time the AI was being built. So it could be misrepresenting the training data. Hiring algorithms may favor male candidates because they were trained on historical data reflecting gender imbalance, or like, for example, outdated language models. So a biased AI model may say that nurses are female. Well, we know that nurses can be men as well. So it depends on how dated or outdated, how biased your AI model is. So healthcare, that prioritizes certain groups over others based on flawed historical cost data. So you want to be careful that what information you're getting is true and correct, and you got to know where that source is coming from, especially when you're doing like hiring algorithms and things like that. Definitely want to. So let's recap. So AI for Intel, yep, you can forecast sales. You can use it to group customers. so we can make really targeted marketing campaigns for your customers based on their purchase history, their behaviors, their engagement patterns. It's wonderful. Identifying emerging marketing trends or market trends. We can certainly adjust messaging, just Johnny on the spot, because we know what the marketing trends are. We're dialed into it. Yes, you can find out exactly what's trending right now in your industry. You can find out like the key phrases. What key phrases and keywords are trending right now amongst, and then you would describe your audience for this particular industry, and then you would put the industry. Start there. You'd be amazed at what's going to come back. Then you could branch out and then do further, more a deeper dive into your AI search. So it's great. That's what I'm here for. I'm happy to help you out with that. It's a wonderful tool. So AI for efficiency, like I said, going back to like the gymnasium, it handles certain tasks that would otherwise take people away from their other more important tasks. We also have AI to help improve data analysis, so we can use that data for better decision making. We can use it to take care of the mundane stuff, so we can drive the business growth and innovations. If we were to have that take care of the mundane stuff, that leaves us more time to do the more important things. And AI to automate, like data entry or process invoices or reconcile accounting records. So there's plenty of things that you could do. But remember, start off small, Don't just say, okay, AI is going to take care of everything. Just start off small. And the human touch, the human skills like empathy, creativity, critical judgment, it complements AI's efficiency and data processing power, but it still remains a critical element that you do the EEAT when developing your content, okay? Humans must still handle the complex issues. So we need to provide the personalized interaction, because if you're writing your content for your business, wouldn't you want to have those inputs that we worked on to create that brand, that voice? Maybe it was a nurturing voice, or maybe there were some certain things that is part of your brand that you have to maintain the integrity of. So that's why these elements are very important. Our inputs are very, very important to writing effective content with AI, or doing anything effective with AI. The AI gotchas, algorithmic biases. So that could amplify existing biases, leading to discriminatory outcomes. That means that basically, if you're using algorithmic biases, you are staying basically within that circle of that bias. So we don't really want to do that. Data privacy violations, we know right now that AI, there is an issue right now of it being misused or mishandled. So we need to be careful with that. Lack of intellectual property. When do we know that we can, basically have our AI content, whatever we did, eligible for copyright protection? So this is a gray area right now, and we're all trying to figure out. So another gotcha is the bias or unfair outcomes. So when AI makes discriminatory decisions, it can lead to a damaged reputation. So, like for example, remember I was mentioning nurses are women. Well, maybe not. And it was overlooked. You had used a biased AI model. So that could, be a recipe for disaster. So you want to make sure that it is not a biased model. Also, poor quality content. That's just going to make the opportunity that you had to win someone over, well, you just gave them low quality content, and basically the brand or your company just appeared just less credible now. So not a good thing. Wow. We're at the end. This is beautiful. This is so nice to be able to do this again with you guys, and I have so much fun. Like I've been saying throughout this whole 2-part series, email me. Email me if you have any questions about your own marketing or any of these episodes. I am here to help. I want you to utilize this stuff. I want you to also subscribe to the Marketing Mensch, please, and let your friends know. Anyone who is in business for themselves. These are things that I'm putting together for you, the business owner, to empower and educate you. So I'm trying to reach as many people as possible. I love it. And that's it. I just want to thank you so much again for joining me for another episode of the Marketing Mensch. This was a really enjoyable time that I had, and it was a shot in the arm to get me back into the swing of things. And start off 2026. I've got a lot more episodes to be sharing with you, so they are in the making, and I promise you they will be on the Marketing Mensch channel here soon. So please join me again and write to me if you have any questions. All right, Mensches, take care, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay creative. Bye for now.